it's time to crank up the truth. I'm Val Selby, and over the decades of working online, I've learned a most important lesson. Mindset owns your business. If procrastination, imposter syndrome, and a lack of focus have been blocking your biz, then I'm here with Val Full Volume, ready to help you see choices that you're making. Get ready to own your personality and use your expertise to create the business of your dreams. Now is the time to make changes and live your best life. So let's get to it. Hello, welcome back. All right, today I am going to be talking about the ever wonderful, another one, of course, all of this stuff hits all of us. Every single human has this issue, deals with this issue, the wonderful fear of failure. Isn't it something that we just look forward to in any new project? That push out of your comfort zone. And it's just like, oh God, can't do that. Oh my gosh. I mean, even just hitting record right now on this podcast, I'm like going around looking at everything going, yeah, screw it. We're not going to be getting perfection here for probably a few months. Not that I usually strive for perfection. I don't have perfectionism usually pop up, I should say. Or maybe I'm not aware. I don't know. But it's summertime. It's warm. And the windows and the doors are open right now. We got warm here in the Seattle area. And that means I'm not going to be able to control who's mowing their lawn and when, how far away they're mowing their lawn, because I live in a tiny town. So the lawnmower that I hear could be a little ways away, but it's just so quiet here. And I had to let that go. I had to let it go. It's like, you know what? This might not be the most professional quality recording ever. And that's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Because if you can hear it in the background, oh well, right? It's just like if I'm going to hit record at any time for a video, for anything, I guarantee there's going to be a delivery man show up. So my dogs are going to go insane, right? But I can't let that stop me from recording because I have no idea when they're going to show up. My neighbor and I live on this little tiny street. I guess it's a driveway kind of thing. And it's like the battle of who's getting a delivery today. It's like the constant battle. I mean, we're in Amazon territory, so we can order stuff and get it within hours sometimes. And it's always like, oh, Amazon truck's here. I don't remember ordering something. Did hubby order something or did the neighbors order something? They're usually going to the neighbors. Yeah. I have to give her a text message to talk to her about it. But if I was waiting for the perfect time, I would never get anything recorded. So guess what? Sometimes that's just going to come off as a failure and it's just going to have to be okay. I just have to be okay with that. Like right now, you can hear an airplane. There's always going to be something that's not going to be perfect. That's not going to come out exactly as planned. And I can't let that stop me from moving forward. So fear of failure shows up in a few different ways, right? Take a second and think on, how does fear of failure show up for you? And I'm hoping that you're not super extreme about it, because there is an extreme issue with it. Some people go extreme, of course, with all sorts of things. So if that is a case, please do go and check with a therapist, talk to your therapist, find out if you've got other issues going on as well. But, fear of failure shows up often for me, anxiety, as my body has changed so much over the last 8 years. It's really showing up more as anxiety. And I don't like it because that's newish to me. Or I guess maybe the awareness might be newish. I don't know. I don't know if I've had this all of my life. A big one when I have the fear of failure is avoidance. When I have the fear of failure for something, my brain says, you know what? Let's just go watch Netflix. You haven't binged the rest of this show. Let's just go watch Netflix. We can do it tomorrow. It's okay. We can do it tomorrow. You deserve the time to go binge watch. Let's go do that instead. Because then it's just putting off that possible failure, right? Another one is feeling when I've got fear of failure going on about maybe a new project. It could be an old project, even, for goodness sakes. If I've got that going on, a lot of the times I will start trying to control a lot of outside stuff. And this one I really, really started recognizing as a possibly one of my probably second red flag. I think first red flag is definitely that I'm going to go and binge watch Netflix. So I would say probably my second big red flag that I've got fear of failure going on is that all of a sudden I'm really getting worried about what are my kids doing? And I start worrying about every little aspect of that and messaging with them even. Or I start worrying about, my husband's work or, stuff that's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. Is that stuff to think about? Sure. Is it stuff for me to put off my work and worry about, or things I want to do and worry about it? Absolutely not, because I can't control anybody else's stuff, even though I want to. So that's one of my go-tos, is I'm instantly going to try and fix everybody else. It's like I can't get mine 100% under control, so I'm going to go fix everybody else. And I just ignore my stuff because that stuff needs to get done. So I'm just going to go do that. And I'm glad that I really started picking up on that one, because that one's just obnoxious. Like all of a sudden I will realize I'm doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, stop it. Stop it. Because I'm not that nagging mom. So when I turn into that, I'm like, oh my word, no, no. And that kind of goes with the whole, feeling like I have a loss of control in my own stuff. So I'm going to go and grab control in other things. And, that kind of makes me feel like I'm like a little bit powerless and gosh, I can't get this done. I can't get that done. I really start taking a look at when all of that stuff and, avoidance and anxiety, when all of that starts popping up, I really start taking a look at, okay, what am I shying away from? What's on my list that I keep moving to the next day, to the next day, to the next day? What's going on? What do I feel behind in? And that's a big one also for me. When I have a fear of failure going on, my go-to has been, I'm working on rephrasing, my go-to has been my old self would start sabotaging. So that's the avoidance. If I'm not doing it, that's sabotaging, right? Because shit needs to get done. The emails need to get sent out. The product needs to get created. But it's not technically a failure if I didn't put my all into marketing, or if I did a last minute marketing and it's like, see, it wasn't going to work. So I didn't do it. And then I just my brain's like, yep, next time we'll remember that. So I'm really paying attention to the self-sabotage popping up. Now, it's hilarious because I put together this list of what I wanted to talk about on the podcast. And a couple of months ago, I just wrote all these little notes down of when I was going to do it. So I'm just working through the list. And the last, today, I'm recording today on a Thursday, last 2 weeks, I was in a challenge. And oh my gosh, I started feeling the sabotage coming in, and the fear of failure was like popping up like crazy, because everything's going well. Business is going well. Well, hell, then are we sure? Because that's not normal. That's not normal. It's not normal. Oh my gosh, I must throw a wrench in this. Got to screw stuff up. I need to make it fail on purpose, because then I don't have to worry about it failing, because it's just going to fail. I want to sabotage it to make it fail, because then I have control over when it fails, right? So weird. Our brains are so weird. They're so fucked up. All this shit that we have to go through. But like I said, the great thing is I'm recognizing all of this stuff. So as soon as it started popping up, I started talking to people about it and going, okay, I'm feeling this way, and I just have to talk about it so that I can get it out of my brain. And that's really all it took, was just the talking about it, the being ridiculous, all the thoughts, not even worried about how they were flowing out of my mouth or any of that. I just had to puke out the words so that I wouldn't go back into old habits and self-sabotage. So when the fear of failure is popping up, always our background comes into it. A lot of the times I am working on the fact that I've rarely felt good enough. I'm working on that. Rarely felt good enough. I might talk a big talk, but I wasn't believing a lot of the thoughts. And I'm paying attention to that now because that was part of the fear of failure that was popping up over those last 2 weeks. Was all of a sudden, I'm like, hot damn, I got this shit. I've got it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm helping people in areas that I know how to help them. And I was feeling good enough. And that's a scary new spot, right? So all of a sudden, I'm just like, oh man, no, we don't know what this feels like. So let's throw the wrench in it. Let's throw the wrench in it. And luckily, this time I had the right people around me at the right time, which is always amazing. And they helped me through it. So what are some keys for you when the fear of failure is popping up? Do you know how you are? Do you know how your brain is showing up? Do you have the similar issues? Does the anxiety start popping up? Oh man, this is going to be real. Is it popping up because you changed new goals? How is it? Oh God, I'm going to use a coaching term. How is it manifesting in your life and business? I can't help it. I talk to a lot of coaches and I'm working on so much self-growth that the coaching terms just are in my head and they pop out. I can't make it go away. I just have to embrace it. And that's all right. Do you find that you're doing the avoidance? What are your flags? Start really paying attention to what are your flags that are telling you you are doing other things to sabotage your goals. Well, like I said, mine are showing up more easily because I'm aware of them. Granted, sometimes it might take me a little bit, a couple of days, but sometimes luckily it's going to only take a couple of hours. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is happening. This was what I was doing when that started happening. And I can ask myself, okay, so why is this popping up? What are we worried about failing at? And I can just start writing down about it. What am I worried about failing at right now? And one big thing now, if you are a serious extreme worrier, I don't necessarily know if these next tips are going to work for you. My mom is an extreme worrier. So sometimes I will go through the what if it does fail or what if all of this happens with her. Sometimes that'll work. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes she just starts worrying about new shit. So pay attention to, are you a worrier or not before you take this one? I'm not typically a worrier. So that's why when I do start getting worried about stuff, that's why I can sit down and be like, wait, something's going on, because this is not how you are naturally. So something's going on. I do like to go through okay, what if it does fail? So what? What does that even mean if it fails? Is it life-threatening? Nothing in my business is life-threatening. So nope. Then what? What if it fails? Who cares if it fails? And yes, I will write down, who cares if it fails? Me. I'm usually going to be the only one that cares if it fails, because I'm usually going to be the only one that knew it failed, because it failed to my standards, not to anybody else's. Because of course, we set our standards pretty damn high usually. And it's like, okay, so then if it fails, then what? Then how do I change it into a non-failure and put plans in place? What if you plan for it to fail? And this is totally not a negative way of thinking of stuff. You might be amazed at what you could find for doing a project by planning for it to fail. You might find a different delivery, a totally different topic, or you might even find out that, you might have had the fear of failure because you don't want to fucking do it. Like you feel like you should be doing it, that you need to be doing that for your business. So if you take a look at that and ask yourself and plan for it to fail, and you might get a little more excited about that plan. Sometimes it's just our brain telling us we don't want to do that. Why are we doing this? We don't want to. We don't. So you can take that time and energy and put it into something that you actually do want to do. Now, here's another thing that, of course, my worry wart mom, I do like to take her down more of this one for her personality. Take a look at it. We did the what if it fails, plan for it to fail. But what if it succeeds? What does that look like? Now, I'm not going into the fear of success because that would be a whole nother podcast. It's written down for the fear of succeeding. It's a thing. It's an honest to God thing. I've had a lot of people tell me it's not a thing. And I'm like, kiss my ass. Because yeah, I've gone through it a lot. So I do know it's a thing. I absolutely do know it's a thing. And that's why I'm really, well, no, I'm not really. That's why I do take a look at the whole perfectionism thing, because fear of success, I'm like, is my fear of success kind of a perfectionist thing? I don't know. God, we can analyze the hell out of everything, can't we? We can. And we can lead our mind into any direction of, oh, well, yeah, that must be because of that. So when I say that I sit through and I go through, what if it succeeds? What if it fails? Planning for all of that. These are not things like I'm sitting there contemplating for hours, recreating the universe. These are things that I do just kind of quickly go through because I don't want to dwell on it, because I know that that's not healthy either, to sit there and dwell on it and analyze it. Because like I said, we can just keep analyzing everything to death. We could sit there and just analyze everything and not get anything done. That would be part of that avoidance thing, right? Sitting there analyzing, sitting there planning for hours and hours and hours instead of doing the do. So the last 2 weeks when I've been on my IG doing reels, I really was I was embracing the hashtag do it scared. And that was because I just had to push through my fear of failure. Even when I was going to record the podcasts for the first time, like I said in, one of the previous episodes, it was hard. I've done this. I talk to people multiple times a day in Zooms. I run meetings. I do all of the things, but for some reason I hadn't done the podcast in a while. And my fear of failure was huge, has been huge. And it's strange to be doing something that's so natural, so comfortable, and being freaked out to hit the record button. Like, oh God, I really don't know what I'm going to say. I don't have enough notes. I better go get more prepared for this. I better write down everything. Like I'm going to read a script or something. I don't do that. I mean, that's probably pretty obvious, right? I'm not reading no script. But I do know what I'm going to say. It just hasn't been said yet. Did that even make sense? I don't know. Sorry. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep. My doggy stayed up. So take a look and just take those 2 easy things and ask yourself, what if? What if? Now, I know I talked about that, I think 2 episodes ago, and I meant to come back and talk about it. So let's talk about it today. The what if, the what if it does fail? What if it succeeds? Go through the what ifs really quickly. What would that mean for you? What if it succeeds? What if it succeeds and you do get to go and vacation on the lake, vacation at the ocean, go to Mexico, wherever your vacation is? What if you get to buy a vacation house because it succeeds? Sometimes that gets a little scary. So that's what I'm saying. That's a whole nother topic. It's the fear of success. But go down it just really quickly, and it will help you hit record. It will help you create that course. It will help you get that sales page created, because what if it does work? And what's the worst that can happen if it doesn't work? Now you've got a new product that you created, and you can go back over it, edit it, add to it, create new videos, change the colors. You've already done the hard work of getting it out there the first time. So now you can finesse it and tweak it, relaunch it to new people, up the price. Sometimes it's the price was why it didn't work. So it's not a failure then, it's just a learning. And if you think that anybody else is putting their product out there the very first time and it's amazing and perfect that first time, I call bullshit. I call bullshit on that happening. Everybody's got to have their starting point, and we're all tweaking and changing all of our stuff all the time in a healthy way. It's not that it's not ever good enough. It's just That's business. We're always updating and changing things because what we've learned has changed. Who we are has changed. Maybe who our ideal clients are has changed. So there's constantly things to be changing. So just take a look at it and do it scared. If you have that fear of failure popping up, do it scared and do it anyways. Because it's better to do it scared than to have never done it at all and be kicking yourself that you never tried or that you never actually put the real work into it. You always stopped before you'd get to that point. All right, probably good enough for today. And stay tuned for next week. I am going to come at you with expertise. Don't roll your eyes. You are an expert in more than one thing, and you need to know it. So thanks for being here, and I will chat with you next week. Thanks for listening to Val Full Volume. I can't wait to talk with you again, and I'd love to bring you more information even quicker. So if you are ready to move past your crap and be less in your head, I'm ready to coach you. An excellent first step is joining us in the Boss Mindset membership. You can find it at valselby.com/join-membership. That's valselby.com/join-membership. Now go out there and create the biz of your dreams.